everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Rona Rose, a Common Material Campaign Manager for the Jones Campaign. I want to thank you all for joining us today. I'm just here to acknowledge that we have an important conversation, and I'm going to let us hear from those most impacted by the conversation. So, Jessica.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Nadzam. I'm a former school teacher from Jonesboro Public Schools here today. I'm here to talk to you today because teacher pay is about a lot of things, but right now it's about showing teachers that we value them, we value the work that they are doing, we care about them, and we believe that they should be able to live a stable life. And unfortunately right now, depending on the zip code or the district you live in, not all teachers have access to that. And even then, depending on the size of your family, it can be a pretty significant stretch. Over the past month, I've heard a lot about teacher pay. And while a lot of it is really fulfilling and encouraging from many of our state's representatives, a lot of it is very, frankly, disheartening and frustrating. Because a lot of the time, I just hear the buck getting passed. Well, we need to wait until the regular session, or this isn't sustainable for what we have going on right now. As a teacher, that tells me, as a former teacher, that tells me a lot about how you value the work that I do. So here's the other thing that you need to know is that teachers can't control their pay. If you're not a teacher, maybe you've gone through a negotiation period with your job to try to get more pay based off the value that you bring. Teachers can't do that. The only things we can control are where we choose to teach. So for example, are we going to choose the Delta? Or are we going to choose Northwest Arkansas? Are we going to choose Central Arkansas? Because those are going to have significant factors on our pay. We can also choose, are we going to do this at all and engage in this profession anymore? And for a lot of teachers, for the exchange of pay that they're getting, the answer is no. I was one of those teachers. So the thing I need you to know here is that not increasing teacher pay when you're saying outright, this doesn't need to happen right now, is that you're sending a very clear message to the 34,000 teachers of this state that we do not value you, and we do not value the work that you do. And frankly, a lot of teachers are really tired of giving this A+ effort for your kids for this D- value. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hey y'all, my name is Max Parker. I am a teacher in the Delta at Forest City High School. I'm not actually from the Delta or Forest City or even Arkansas. I'm actually from Birmingham, Alabama. But I'll say this, when I came to Arkansas and enrolled at Hendrix in 2017 as a freshman, I found a community here that I really love. I do truly love this state. And ever since I've been in Arkansas, I felt like it's been my home. And being a part of these communities and really pouring into my students has given me so much joy that I have not been able to find anywhere else. And so since I'm a teacher, I want to actually do something that I do best. I want to teach y'all something about a little idea, right? And this idea is that every single Arkansan's potential is both moral and economic, right? If we think about the potential that we are investing in, right? We have a moral duty to do this, but we also have an economic duty. Every time we invest in an Arkansan's potential, it has this ability to create a ripple effect where if you are being invested in, right, I might be inspired by the creativity and the innovation that you create, and I may be inspired to innovate and be creative on my own, right? And the thing is this is a really beautiful idea, right, but it's not our reality. Right? Our reality is that we don't invest in different areas of the state in the same way, right? I want us to think about this, right? If we have two students, one from the Delta, one from Northwest Arkansas, right? If we don't invest in those students in the same way, right? Not only is a student from the Delta losing out on an opportunity to invest and become their fullest, best self, right? But this student from Northwest Arkansas is also losing a priceless opportunity to learn from that ripple effect, to learn from the creativity and the innovation created by this student from the Delta. So with all of this, I want to lead you with one final thing, which is a question, right? Teachers are always known for asking questions. Okay, and this one's for Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Here's your prompt, so listen carefully. the Waltons gave 1.3% of their wealth back to society. Not to Arkansas specifically, but back to society, right? And now I want you to think about any teacher here in Arkansas that you know. Are they giving back more than 1.3% of their money, of their time, of their effort? Are they giving that back to Arkansas students, right? And once you've thought about that, I want you to ask yourself, does it make more sense to give tax cuts to a billionaire, or does it make more sense to give back to teachers who are going to invest, right? There is a long history of teachers investing so much more than they are given back into the community, right? It's not just moral, right? It's not that teachers are altruistic, it's economic, right? If you want to place a bet, right, betting on teachers is the right economic bet. Thank you.
My name is Lebron Mcadoo. I've been teaching in the Little Rock School District for 29 years. I've seen a lot of things. And in that 29 years, as I move forward, I want to continue to be in the classroom. I want to continue to be in the school district. A lot of people define that as commitment. Everybody say commitment.
Commitment.
So there's a commitment I see in Chris Jones, a commitment to have teacher voice. Listen, not simply hear, which is a physical thing that happens with every being, but listen, which is a mental exercise, which is really assessing and evaluating what's being said. I hear commitment. Say commitment. When it's time for teachers to get paid, to be compensated for what they bring to the table, for their value that they bring to the program, for the inspiration that they bring to children's lives, I see in Chris Jones commitment. Say commitment.
Commitment.
So how do I see that, you say? Well, this man has made a personal commitment. He has his doctorate degree. He committed himself personally to education. He went through everything you had to go through to get what he needed to get in order to be credentialized that way. That to me says commitment. But not only that, when I was reintroduced to him, and I'll tell you how I was introduced to him before then, later, but when I was reintroduced to him, he was over the Innovation Hub. And I had a business very close to the Innovation Hub, and he said, I have an idea about additional classes for youth, and I want you and I and your partners to partner up and make sure that we can make something happen. That to me says commitment. And then when I looked at what he is really interested in, at first I was confused because I like peanut butter and jelly. But it was P, B, and J. And the P stands for preschool. And if we start our babies off right, then they can end up in a better place. So that to me says commitment. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, as I move to the side, I'm gonna introduce this man that I know is committed. I was first introduced to him in a little town we both grew up in called Pine Bluff. And we're both proud of Pine Bluff because those lessons we learned there was able to move and elevate us in different places. Well, he needs to be elevated by all of us. He wants us to be just as committed as he is. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Chris Jones.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for such an important and timely conversation. My name is Chris Jones. I'm a candidate for governor, and I support teachers. As the son of a lifelong educator, Miss Beverly Jones, I have an unwavering commitment to education, and that's why I'm here today. Our children, our future generations, and the future of our state, they will remember the choice we make in this moment. My papa, Jesse Torrance, drove a truck and had a third grade education. And yet he understood the value of education and its ability to provide and open doors of opportunity. He would always tell me, big man, get an education, because when you get it in your head, no one can take it out. I took that lesson and I got 2 degrees from Morehouse College, one in physics and one in math, a master's in nuclear engineering from MIT, a master's in technology and policy from MIT, and a PhD in urban planning. I taught 9th grade algebra. I served as Dean of Graduate Education for 10 years. I took his lesson about education to heart. All of that was rooted in the public education that I received in the Watson Chapel School District, and in the teachers who made commitment and sacrifice to show up and invest in me. When we invest in teachers, they invest in students, and teachers are worth the investment. Right now, they deserve to know and see that they are a priority. I propose a plan that will raise the floor and close the gaps. I'm calling on our elected officials to use a portion of our $1.6 billion surplus to bring Arkansas out of the basement on teacher pay. I agree with the original plan that our current governor has proposed, that we can raise the floor for all teachers from $36,000 to $46,000 a year. And we can provide $4,200 for those already at $46,000 per year. This can be sustained, and Governor Hutchinson has already done the math. And we can close the gap by giving one-time bonuses of between $1,000 and $2,500 to all teachers and staff. We can close the gap on our problematic rural teacher shortages with a rural teacher incentive program. We can close the gap by reinvesting in the conditions of our school buildings with a deferred maintenance building program. Part of sustaining is preparing for the unknowns. We all have felt how unexpected changes can limit our options. So, finally, I propose that we develop a fund from the surplus that will allow us to sustain the longer-term stability of our teachers' pay. I remember as a kid sitting in the 3rd grade, and while I was dreaming of the stars, it was a teacher that was investing in me and giving me space to have those dreams. Teachers give us the ability to dream and the tools to get there. So today I'm asking you, what are we giving them? What we do now will be heard by Arkansans for generations to come. Its impact will be as either leadership or cowardice. We can meet this moment, this opportunity, this chance to dream big. The question is, will we? Thank you. I'll take your questions.
What's the total price tag of what you're proposing, and how, especially since the ongoing costs, how do you propose paying for it?
Yeah, so the ongoing costs are as Governor Hutchinson proposed, and he already has a plan laid out for $46,000 and $4,200 for those above $46,000. The one-time costs to come out of the surplus are capped at $400 million, which is only a portion of the $1.6 billion surplus. Questions over here?
So you would use up to $400 million
Yes.
of the surplus.
For the one-time pay, for the rural teacher incentive program, and for the deferred maintenance program, and for the fund that will ensure long-term sustainability in case of drastic changing economic conditions.
So it's for deferred maintenance and the stability fund.
Yep.
That's the $400 million.
No, the total is 400 million, and we can send you a listing that has that, the exact
breakdown.
numbers. Yeah, breakdown.
So that includes the one-time bonus
It
along
does,
with those two.
yeah.
two
Tell us more about
So what we're saying is that teachers are worth investing in now, and we know that it starts in August, and we know that teachers are already preparing for August, and they're worth investing in the long term. Question?
Sorry, could you tell us more about the rural teacher incentive program?
Yeah, one of the challenges we face, as you heard from our educators, and thank you all for standing. We've had a task force for over a year of educators, of parents, of students meeting, really talking about and unpacking the issues that we face in education in Arkansas. And one of the biggest challenges is that we have a shortage of teachers in our rural areas. So this fund would range from doing things like providing housing incentives to providing quality of life incentives for those who will teach in rural areas. I'll take one more.
How important is it to, invest in those rural communities? Because I know a lot of school districts are really having trouble getting those teachers right now.
It's critically important to invest in rural school districts, in rural communities. And I would argue that the only way that Arkansas can thrive is when our rural communities thrive. So that investment is absolutely critical. Thank you all very much.